All right, Math 187 students, you've done a good job. You finished the Getting Started module. You know how to work in Canvas, what that interface looks like. You have access to your textbook. You know what that interface looks like. You've had a chance to participate in a discussion board. So uploading, downloading assignments. So you've got all the tools you need to be ready for this course. So now what we need to do is start our formal review. Basically, for the next 2 weeks here, we'll be reviewing college algebra material. And so what I've done in this little review module is I have some if you want to call them pre-test, I have some pre-test that goes over functions and abstract ideas, as well as some right triangle geometry. My review is more function based, whereas the review in the textbook is a lot of mechanics. So, you know, as we're working with a function, we're simplifying things, we're solving equations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm doing that in the handouts that I'm giving you as a functional view, and then the homework is kind of working on those mechanics to kind of bridge the two things together. Although there are some function review things in the review, but as I kind of looked at the review from the textbook, a lot of it is like working with the mechanics and absolute value, how to solve an equation without the perspective of a function. So I kind of put it all together because that's kind of what we're going to need moving forward. So let me share my screen. So please make sure you're working through things. And as I suggest in the overview, let me make my page a little bit bigger here. Okay, again, for the first 2 weeks of the class, we're going to be doing review. I do have some rolling deadlines with regard to the homework, so make sure you're getting so much done. Don't wait until our test on September 8th to start, finally looking at this, because it's going to be too late. You really want to dive into this, because if you struggle with anything, whether they're my review assignments I'm giving you or the review assignments from the textbook, if you're struggling and constantly having to get a lot of help, that is a huge sign that you're in the wrong class. And if you're in the wrong class, your likelihood of failing is going to go sky high. So please make sure, don't wait until 2 weeks from now to start the review assignment. Start doing it now. On that note, since this is review, I do not plan on giving any formal lectures. It's truly going to be the questions that you guys ask. So if you're not asking any questions, I'm going to assume everything is hunky dory and everything's fine. And so that's on you, all right? Because this is stuff that you are supposed to know, all right? So again, what I encourage you guys to do, there's 3 handouts here. So let me go ahead and go to the first one. And it's basically a lot of function review. So evaluating functions, manipulating functions, domain and range in functions, functions inverses, some definitions, domains, finding intercepts, asymptotes, graphing functions, and then even solving some equations, which isn't function oriented, but I didn't know where else to put that. So again, a lot of the mechanics, if you're missing some of the ideas, come in the homework. What I'm doing is looking at those mechanics as a function overview. What I highly suggest you guys do is before you do it, print this out and try to finish this as much as you can, just to make sure that you remember what you did in your college algebra classes. If things go pretty smoothly, that's good. All right. If they don't, if you're lost, have no idea what I'm asking about, then that's not good. All right. So that's the function review one. Then there's an abstract function review. Here, what ends up happening, as often happens in trig, is you're not really given a function per se, but you're given information. Like question number 2, I don't know what f of x is. I don't know if it's quadratic, if it's linear, if it's irrational. All I've been told is it's 1-to-1 and that f of 3 equals to 5. And so based off of that information, what other things can we create? This happens a lot in trig. You're given a sine value, you're asked to find a cosine value, right? You're given a tangent value and you're asked to find a secant value. So you're given something, and then we have to kind of create more truth statements based off of that. So you'll notice that in all these, the actual function's not given, but we're asked to manipulate domains, ranges, graphs, all that other kind of good stuff. So I call this abstract function concepts, where you kind of really have to understand definitions and transformations and what's going on about a function to fully understand what's happening there. So again, treat this like a test, take a look at it. If the ideas seem familiar to you, that's good. If they're not familiar to you, that's a warning sign. And then the last one goes over more right triangle geometry. We're going to need a lot of this in our trig part. And so we just go over some right triangle definitions, the Pythagorean theorem, using it, looking at some special right triangles. So again, I would ask you to try doing some of this stuff on your own. If you're comfortable with it on your own, that's good. If you're lost, that's a sign that you're in the wrong class. But have no fear after you've done those on your own and kind of attempted as much as you can, right? I'm going to come back to this material later, but if you press next, what I have are actually videos that break down everything you just saw. So again, if you thought you did it correct, this becomes an answer key. So you'll just click on the first button, and what you'll see is basically my video. And let me So you'll see that that's basically the first page. It gives you an opportunity to listen to me talk, listen to me explain, and hopefully this will give you a lot of memory jogs. So if your first attempt on your own doesn't go well, but then you listen to me talk about it and you start, I remember this, that's a good sign. Okay. Another thing that I want to mention with regard to my videos, let me make this big, is if it seems a little blurry to you, right? You can fix that by going down here to the gear sign, and you can increase the resolution, right? And so this way it looks a little clearer. When I download these, yeah, so you can notice that that's a lot clearer. So, so that's one way. As you watch a lot of my videos, a big student complaint is that they seem a little fuzzy, and that's just what Canvas does with my videos. It basically uploads the lowest resolution, but with the gear sign, you can basically increase the resolution and be happy. So I am basically, for those 3 review handouts, right? The first one, which is all function review, I have a video that breaks down every single problem, right? So this first video does problem 1, the next one does problem 2 and 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7. So I literally walk you through. And then for the abstract function review, there's more videos on that abstract function review, again, walking you through the problems and essentially being an answer key. And for the right triangle geometry, again, going through and showing you that way. So I'm kind of showing you the way. So again, attempt them on your own to kind of see just how much you remember, maybe kind of fill in those gaps, like where you're weak and where you're not. And then just watch the videos, and that'll serve as kind of a preview of what my lessons are going to be like, as well as an answer key for the problems that you're working on. So that's going to be your formal lecture. It's going to be online. In class, what I'm going to be doing is going over questions. Okay, so you get used to that. So again, please attempt these on your own, and then after attempting them, go watch the videos. And then most of these ideas, again, can be practiced in the review assignment that you saw in Pearson My Math Lab. But again, the slight difference, my math lab is kind of going over the mechanics without necessarily a function being evolved, whereas I'm going through with the function. So you're kind of working on a skill building, if you would. So a lot of good review there, especially if you're struggling with rational expressions or roots or whatever the case might be. All right. And so get your homework completed, work on those, watch my videos. Your job is to get this all back, because our first test is on September 8th. Test number 1 will be over all this review material. So you want to make sure you get it back by then. But also, I know that's 2 weeks away, and I'm a little afraid, because it's really important that you get placed in the right class. So please make sure you dive into this, because if you're lost, if the homework help isn't helping, if my videos aren't helping, if our class discussion isn't helping, that means that you're lost and you're in the wrong class. So I strongly recommend you go back and take a college algebra class. It is impossible to learn pre-calculus and build on the ideas that we're going to build on if your foundation just is not there. And I would strongly recommend dropping all the way back to 151, if not 114 college algebra prep. But we kind of, that's a case-by-case basis, and we need to know. So if you feel like you're in that category, contact me ASAP. We'll discuss it. We'll talk about it, strategize, and go from there. I'll even help you as much as I can to find another class. So there's your review. All right. Again, if you go to modules, you can kind of see it's a classic. There's our getting started module. But after that is our practice review. So there's the overview that you just saw, and then all the videos going over the concepts. Okay. You do not need to turn these guided notes in because again, this is review and this is not officially, new material, pre-calculus material. So it's a little bit different, as you can see in some coming up. There's an overview and videos, and then there's a discussion board and a place to submit your notes. You do not need to submit your review notes. They're for your own personal review. And that's what the way I want to treat it to get you ready for that test September 8th. If you have questions, please ask. Otherwise, start your review, bring your questions, let me hear them. Make sure you get your foundation solid and that you're ready to start pre-calculus. All righty. So let me stop sharing. And again, keep working, get through that review, and I'll talk with you guys in class or online. Talk to you later.